Master of Ceremonies, Nathan Cassar.
Well, welcome back to the first episode of season 4 of the Justice Planned Weddings and Podcast TV show. Can you think of it? Season 4. Goodness, welcome everybody. We're kicking off this brand new season with an absolute wedding superstar. But first, of course, as always, I'm your host, Nathan Cassar, professional wedding MC. So buckle up for an unforgettable ride. Today, we are joined by the infallible Dave Lang, an incredible celebrant who's been making wedding dreams come true for over 10 years, although he only looks like he's been doing this for like 2. With over 600 weddings under his belt and a career that's taking him through 4 seasons of Married at First Sight, Dave is no stranger to creating unforgettable moments of joy, laughter, and of course, plenty of happy tears. But Dave's journey to becoming a celebrant is anything but typical. Before he found his calling in weddings, he had an entire other life as an actor and a performer, singing on cruise ships and acting in TV commercials. Not only that, but Dave has an inspiring story of survival. He was born 4 months early and survived death 6 times. Talk about a resilient spirit for sure. Dave's personal life is equally as interesting. He met his wife while performing in a rock show, children's pantomime touring show, and now 10 years later, he's made a career of turning wedding ceremonies into unforgettable celebrations. In today's episode, we'll be diving into Dave's craziest wedding stories, tips and tricks for new celebrants, and what it really takes to be at the top of the game like himself. We'll also talk about how technology can make your wedding easier, and while building a human connection throughout the entire day is essential for a truly meaningful ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, season 4 is here, and we're here to start off strong with Dave Lang. Dave, welcome to the show. How you doing, mate?
Mate, I'm amazing now. Thank you for that intro. Holy moly, I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be here.
No, of course you absolutely deserve all of the ceremony. It's when we only met. I feel a little sad that we only met only just very recently, but obviously grateful that we have. For those listening, it was only about I think 4 or 5 months ago that you and I crossed paths in the industry, and what the first thing we found out about each other is we have this mutual connection to the cruise industry, having both come from that world. It was then no surprise seeing how amazing you were on stage and how natural you were to guide our particular couple through their journey on the day. Tell me, as someone from the same sort of background myself, and also including everything else you've done since TV and everything else, what is it? Has that been something that you have used as a point of difference? But more importantly, how do you feel that particular background really helps you to make these beautiful ceremonies?
Oh, mate. Well, I mean, I say this to couples a lot too, but growing up performing, I was singing since I was 6 years on stage since I was 6 years old. So being on stage or being up in front of people is truly like, as I'm sure it is for you too, it's like my happy place. It's like I'm just at home up there. So it's having so many years under my belt of different types of performing, whether it's singing or whatever, or acting or whatever. It really, I'm completely comfortable with having hundreds of strangers stare at me, which is something most couples, we married, they're not as comfortable with. And so True. It's great to be able to use all of the training and the sheer experience I have, and just being able to bring that to weddings. I think that
you were on the most recent episode of the season, right?
I was, I think it aired last Wednesday. Yes, Elliot and Veronica I married, so which was crazy. I got asked to come to join MAFS again for this season, which is always an excellent phone call to get. It's always crazy watching it back as well, because we shoot it like 6 months previously, like in August last year we shot it. So for it to be finally aired, and for me, because everything is very secret with a show like that,
of course.
Even shooting it, you've got no idea really, what going into it, what it's going to be like until you rock up on the day. Having no context about any of the people I was marrying, or knowing anything about them really, except their names. Having to watch the show this year to see when my episode was going to be on, and seeing the journey. Do you watch the show?
I dabble, but I must admit to the audience, I actually broke my TV's antenna moving a number of years ago, so I don't
Oh,
get free to air anymore.
yeah, no, fair. No, fair. And look, to be honest, like I do love MAFS when I'm on it, but I don't really watch it either. So because I deal with real weddings all the time. So so it was crazy. There was a whole bunch of drama for this guy that I ended up marrying, and they did this big announcement the night before that it was a world first. They'd never having him come back into the show because he'd left. They've never.
Oh.
So I was like, whoa! So it turned out to be like a really great ceremony to be a part of, because everyone was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen with this certain guy in the show. So to be there was and to see it all play out months later and be like, oh my gosh, I had no idea any of that had happened. And now, it was really, really cool.
Well, I'm super pumped for you. And speaking of sort of that craziness, of course, obviously, like, MAFS is the whole thing where, it sort of sits as this sort of, televised version of everything that you do for a living. Really getting down to, like, let's call it the real weddings. What is some of the craziest wedding experiences you've actually had during your entire 10 years?
Yeah, mate. Yes. Without a doubt, the first one that comes to mind is a wedding that I did in the harbour on the back of a boat. And now boat weddings are beautiful. Sydney is the most picturesque place for it, of course.
Absolutely.
But this particular day, well, first of all, because it was kind of towards the end of COVID, so the couple had already moved their wedding once on another boat, and they'd moved it again because that boat burnt down, was struck by lightning and burnt down. So
okay.
Yeah, and this guy's been together 20 years already. But anyway, this boat burned down, so they booked another boat. And I was like, God, that's a lot. Okay. And so anyway, we booked this other boat. Great. So we're on this boat in the harbour. It's an overcast day, but it's not raining. And I was like, okay, cool. And literally, as we're standing on the back, there's no cover. As the bride is walking through the boat to come down the aisle, the groom just goes to me, I think I just felt some rain. And I was like,
oh no,
what are you talking about? Hey, don't be stupid. That's, we're like doing I've got a live stream videographer from Paris, like who's live streaming to Paris. Like it's this ideal Sydney wedding. And as soon as she gets to the front, it just buckets with rain, like buckets with rain, like absolute craziness. And I said to the couple in the moment, I was like, we're going to do this. Like, you waited 20 years. The other boat burnt down. There's no way we're not going to do this. They're like, let's just do it. So we did this wedding in torrential rain and in absolute insanity. We get through the wedding. We sign the docs. Everyone goes nuts. There was maybe only 10 guests. Super small thing. And the rain stops. And I kid you not, a rainbow appeared next to the boat. It was at the headlands at Kirribilli. The sun came out, and I could not believe it. And so much so that there was a friend of a friend who I didn't know they knew each other, but was at that wedding, and she sent a photo to my friend being like, I think this is your mate Dave. And it's this photo of me in the middle of the ceremony, completely drenched, like everyone just drenched, like we look like drowned rats. So normally after a wedding, I'll get a photo with a couple if I can. And we were just haggard. We just looked like makeup was running, like hair was all over the shop. It was just completely unforgettable. And I saw that same photographer months later at a wedding at Q Station, and the first thing he said to me, he goes, "You were on that boat with me." It was like something that just he's like the boat wedding, and straight away we're like, oh my gosh, it was just totally something that bonded us together because it was just insane. But because I'd already been through so much already, I wasn't going to be like, oh, well, let's just pause and wait for the rain to stop. No, I was like, let's just get this thing done. Let's get you married, So it was incredible. And weddings are incredible as it is,
Absolutely.
Being able to be a part of a couple's special day like that is, I think it's like a real privilege because, you can have anyone marry you. So the fact that couples pick me and to be their guy up there with them is just something that I've never, ever taken for granted. Because,
100%. I certainly know from the way you do things that is not the case at all. But what I really like about you, Dave, is that you are incredibly professional, but also tenacious in your desire to make sure that 100% exactly what the couple wants, you make it happen. And that story is obviously so emblematic of that desire to really see it through. I think that it's just incredible. I must say though, obviously I'm sure you get a lot of people who ask you about getting into the game, even perhaps even some of your former couples say, oh, I reckon I like the way you do things, but I reckon I could do it too. Sort of, speaking of
Yeah.
sort of like, how this could probably best translate, obviously, what you bring to the table and what couples can expect from different celebrants out there. But what would, just as a bit of a interesting exercise, like what tips and tricks would you give to, say, new celebrants or perhaps other couples who are on the verge of it and thinking, I'm enjoying this process so far. Maybe at the end of all of this, I could join this gang too.
Well, funny you should say that. I've had one of my couples. I married them at Clontarf, the beach down at. Clontarf? Down in, I think it was Clontarf, yeah, on the beach. And the bride, then became a celebrant after the wedding. And I just recently had a groom. I married two guys at Gunners Barracks towards the end of last year, and one of them is now doing the course to become a celebrant. So it is kind of cool when that happens. They've obviously seen the process, gone through it completely with me, and been like, oh, you know what, I could do that. The funny thing is that, and I had someone say this to me the other day, was that, oh, you don't just get up there and talk for 20 minutes? And I was like, oh, no, there's so much more involved that no one ever gets to see. But that's part of the magic, I guess, is on the day, is making it all effortless and fun and easy. Because by the time we get to the wedding, it should be, or by the time we get to the reception for you, you've got it all done. You know what I mean? You're just there to have a good time. So, and do what you need to do. So, so I have had friends. I've even had fellow actor mates of mine over the years also become celebrants in different parts of the country, which is also flattering, I guess. They go, oh God, if Dave can do it, we probably do it too. So it's it is. I'm like, yes, you definitely can. So it is very, very nice, a lovely compliment, I guess, especially when the couples do it. My mates of mine who are actors who do it, it's like, oh, that was kind of I could see that. You can kind of see it with certain people happening, I guess. But with when couples want to do it, or someone I've married, it's like, oh wow, obviously the work we did together had a big enough impact on them that they feel like they can then go and pursue it, because it isn't something that is it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a year to become one, basically, in total. So
yeah. And I think it's such an incredible, important point, because obviously, it's so easy just to see the seamlessness that people like yourself approach the job with, because obviously 10 years, 600 weddings, of course you'd expect that. But what I'm really curious about is specifically like what makes a successful celebrant. Like what do you believe you have? What's the right metal to be looking for? And this would also apply to couples who are now, listening now and going, okay, well, what kind of celebrant am I looking for? What is it that they would want to be looking for in someone that would be regarded as successful, compared to, say, someone that's like, yeah, I'm great, and maybe there's some red flags I should be worried about. Like, what's kind of like, where's your thoughts on that?
What's some things there? Yeah. So I would say, look for couples looking for a celebrant, I would say someone who is experienced. Like when I first have a meeting with a couple, I'll tell them everything they need to know, like everything. Like it goes for 45. Like we have a big chat. It's not just like a quick, like, hey, I'm Dave. How you going? Oh, you guys how long have you been together? Like, oh, that's really cool. Well, I marry people and I'm a really nice person. Just trust me. You know what I mean? Like, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I break down everything, every step of the way, every legal process, every form we're going to fill out. And yes, it is a lot of information, but I think couples who've never been married before, or even if people have been married 2 times or 3 times, they go like, oh wow, this guy really knows what he's talking about. So I think trust is a huge factor in picking a celebrant, but also for me as well, trusting that the couple we're going to go through this together, because it is a joint. It's I say all the time, like teamwork makes the dream work. It's a team effort. So, and as much as after a wedding, often a relative or someone will, oh, that was a lovely ceremony. I go, thanks so much, but it's not me. Like yes, I'm the one saying the things, but it really is such a team effort, which I think really makes the job so enjoyable as well. So experience, I think, helps a lot. Trust helps a lot. Knowing as well, I think, that I've done so many weddings that I probably been through whatever their worst fear probably is. Like I probably had it happen. Or, like I've never had anyone not turn up. That's never happened. Touch all the wood. But like it is. I think it's reassurance as well. So part of my role there is to obviously just I'm going to be with you on the day. I'm going to be up there. I'll probably be crying with you. I think that the biggest compliment I can get is that people, they think that I've been friends with the couple for years.
Yeah.
So, it obviously means that the connection I've made with the couple is strong enough that their own family and friends, just through the wedding alone, they go like, "Oh, how come? Did you go to high school with them, or did you meet them at uni? Like, aren't you? How do I not know you in their life? And I'm like, oh, they found me on a website or whatever. And they go like,
they pay my invoice. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, found me on Expo or something. They're like, what do you mean? Like, we thought you were mates. So, so I'm fortunate enough that, my whole thing is that I'm like one of your mates marrying you, which is what I will be by the time we get to the wedding. So,
of course,
so it's that's a big thing for me, is the trust thing and the human connection thing. I say, I would,
and I think that's a great example of the fact that in the early planning stages, to really make sure that if that vibe check, and I know it gets used a lot, and I'm sure within a couple of years the word vibe will probably be out of the dictionary again for everyone, but I'm going to use it while we have it now. I think realistically the vibe check is super important these days, because obviously money's tight. The economy is changing. People's perceptions of what a wedding should be like is also changing. And so if you don't, I've always told my couples that if you don't feel like any part of the process is at all within sort of a palatable sort of, sense of happiness and comfort, then don't have it, don't incorporate it, discard it to the side. And send, especially the person that's specifically going to be encouraging the signing of the papers and the legal phrasing and so forth. So I think you're speaking to a really, really great point, which is simply, have those conversations. Don't just buy off the shelf or the website, really actually genuinely pick up the phone and say g'day.
Right. Oh, it means the world. And I think, the more things you find out you have in common, or the more things you or you discover along the way, make that even more special. Especially I find with guys, a lot of the time it's the bride will often do a lot of the planning, and the guy is just being told to join a Zoom meeting or something. Do you know what I mean? And so but they're the ones who are they're quite often the emotion on a wedding day is that something they've never they don't quite know what to do. They're like, or they tear up or whatever it is. So I met a lot of lovely guys over the years, but every so often there'll be someone who's like very, very blokey and very, you know what I mean. And so, but on the day they'll just be like, there'll be the tears coming down the eyes and all that kind of stuff. So to be the one that they know they got their mates up there, but to be that person for them as well, I think is really cool. Like, you're our guy. We trust you to be standing up here in like this beautiful, fragile, special, amazing moment that we're going to share in front of everyone who loves us the most. So I think it's it's just a really I really love it. Like, it's probably evident in the way I talk about it.
Oh, absolutely. I can definitely. I'd be surprised if anyone commented on this podcast and said, no, Dave's he's full of it. I don't think so.
Buying it.
I'd be super surprised. I mean, the way that I know that you operate, and also, of course, like, you're right, it is a really tender moment. And I think you identifying that it isn't just specific. There are two people that this process is a part of. And so it's really crucial that both are seen, whichever configuration that is, that both people are seen in the process in their own ways, and you're meeting them at where they are at. And at the end of the day, having that sort of special human connection being created because you've taken the time to really see both of them, to hear them, to walk them through the process. And as someone who is also a purveyor of the human connection in my MC role, I just love that it's such an important part of the piece of the puzzle for you, because maybe a time gone by, it was more about making sure that the boxes were ticked. But I think more than ever, people are super, super wanting to make sure that, the money aside, which is obviously a big critical decision of itself, people want to feel as though that it was an incredibly emotionally tangible part of their life, and that people also in the audience are feeling it as well. It's not something that is, because often, depending on the context, sometimes people, I've been told that a church ceremony doesn't have that necessarily same feel as the outdoor ceremony with a celebrant. And that's not to say that there's a value proposition on either of them, but certainly that because the shift has gone from majority church weddings to civil celebrants weddings more often now than not, there's clearly a desire amongst the majority of the industry to have those human connections really play a part of it in, you know, a more intimate setting that you are able to create as a civil celebrant. So I love that, and I don't think anybody is at all gonna deny it.
No,
I want to.
Yeah.
No, look, I want to. You brought up something that we were talking offline before we started, and I think this is what's really what is really interesting, because I really resonate with this too. Is the fact that I speak about sort of where we are today in the modern era of 2025, but also we're within a digital age, and technology has had a huge impact on weddings. Now, how do you incorporate technology into the ceremonies to make them run more smoothly and efficiently, but still making sure that the human connection is there?
So I use an iPad during my ceremonies. I have an iPad mini, which just makes things easy. And I used to have the paper when I very first started back in the day, in a folder with the plastic sleeves. And then, because that's how I was taught, though. That's how I was taught to do it, is you get a folder, whatever, from paper by paper. And then, years later, I was like, oh, you actually just do it on an iPad. I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. I used to actually, with my Apple Watch, I used to play the music when the bride comes down the aisle and control it from my watch, which was paired to my speaker system. So I would control the music just by tapping my tap on my watch. But with the iPad mini, I went, I can just split screen it and I can do two things at once. So, which is amazing. And then, of course, we can sign the documents digitally now too. So there's no more.
I didn't know that.
You've never seen that?
That's something I've learned today, actually. No, I did not know that you could legally do that. That's cool.
So yeah, absolutely. There is one document though that you can't, which is this one, which is the pretty one. It's called the Form 15. So this is the one that the couples will take home with them after the wedding. But everything else can just be done digitally. So I was like, that's unreal. So which is great. It saves paper flying around everywhere, and everyone goes, oh, that's an iPad, and they sign with the Apple Pencil, and they go, oh, that's really cool. Oh my God. You always feel like you hear someone like an older, they do it on an iPad now, you know, like we did it was paper or whatever. So, you know, it's like, yeah. So that, I guess, the trick is, and this takes a lot of practice, I think, and something that I'm consciously aware of as well, is reading the script that I have for the story, but still also working the room. If we're going to get like really technical about like how I do stuff. So because yes, you want to convey this story in the best way possible, and you want to be able to tell the jokes, or you know, if there's an emotional moment, someone who's not with us anymore, all that kind of stuff, you want to hit all those beats in the story, I guess, and try and convey it as genuinely as possible, of course. But it's also making that eye contact with the people who are sitting there, but not just the people in front of you, with the couple, obviously, but also even I'm very hesitant of the people standing, like a row of the people standing on the sides as well, the groomsmen and the bridesmaids most of the time, because they're also a part of it, and they're also standing up there as well. So the more you're able to, even just a little glance during something or other, you know, funny thing, because then they lock in as well, and they feel a part of it with you as well. So the more, and you would find this with your MC stuff too, when you work in the room, when you're talking to your people, you know, you want to make as much real connection as you can, because then, you know, everyone in a little way feels a part of it. It's like when you go to a concert and people, the lead, I don't know if you've ever had like a lead singer or someone like look in your direction.
Absolutely.
They looked at me. You know what I mean? It like completely like changes. You know, you feel great. So I just feel like it's just a great way to make everyone in a really small way have the same moment, have the same feeling at the same time. And
absolutely, couldn't agree more.
So so bringing with the iPad, I've just got to be aware that. You know, I've got I know there's a line coming up that we've written together that's going to be great, but I've just got to make sure that I'm not just stuck in my iPad down here and all that kind of stuff. So, just got to open up and, you know, share it with the room, I guess. And that comes with experience. And I guess also just like years of performing and acting and all that kind of stuff. So it really is for me. Like,
I mean, you're playing to your strengths, right? But also at the same time, you were also super aware of the audience being not just a prop, and not the bridesmaids and the groomsmen just being a prop for the photos. You know, they're not staging where they're just standing like this for every photo. Like there are humans that formulate the subjects of each of the photos that get created, and it's not just about the two of them, although they are the main subject, etc. And so it is it's really refreshing to hear that, because I know that a lot of people perhaps do it in theory, but yet your consciousness of that, I think, is really critical. And I think it's really something that couples should be conscious of if they're looking at content that people are posting up, such as, oh, here's my past work, etc. And also just assessing about what kind of ceremony they want. You know, do we want someone like that is able to use technology efficiently so we can modernize the whole process, but at the same time isn't stuck on here look like they're you know, checking their Instagram while they're also talking about their love story, of course. So look, Dave, I would stay here forever because I love talking with you, man. And I have obviously boundless more questions, but unfortunately I am also bound by the time that we have available. Before we go, we always wrap up by asking a couple of rapid fire questions. So I've got two for you. One, what do you believe is the top trend that immediately comes to mind for this year that you're seeing?
Well, I would instantly say QR codes instead of hashtags.
Oh, yes. Great point.
So,
very true.
I used to say in weddings, like, oh, use the hashtag, Now no one does the hashtag. Everyone's like, we've got a QR code for later on for the photos, or even, you know, during the reception. There's a QR code on the menu. So you scan that, because everyone knows what a QR code is because of COVID. So I think that no one, well, not for me anyway, recently for quite a while has been like, we've got the hashtag, or we came up with a cute name. And no, not many people are doing that now. It's all about the digital. Speaking of technology, it's the digital, it's the hashtag.
No, you're so true. Yes, good. I like that one. And do you prefer beach or country weddings?
Oh, country all day. Like beach, I think beach is something that looks great on Instagram and everything, and it is beautiful. I did one recently at Maroubra. And it was great. It was great. It was beautiful. It was quite windy though on the beach there, and it was also very, very hot. And so I think, you know, it was still a wonderful day, and the couple were amazing, and the wedding was beautiful. But no, a nice tree coming over the top, like a benduli or a, you know what I mean, a barrel somewhere. A nice green is I'm all about it. A bit of shade, it goes a long way. Yeah.
Like a bit of shade definitely does go a long way. I couldn't agree more. I've had one in the past, and yes, I agree with every word you just said. Gorgeous, beautiful, amazing, picturesque. But the heat is definitely the problem. Look, Dave, I want the beautiful people that are listening to know exactly how to find you, because they deserve to know who you are, how to talk to you, and how, of course, to engage you. So go for it, my friend. Tell everybody how they can find you on the interwebs.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, so you can find me at davidlangcelebrant.com. I'm on Instagram at David Lang Celebrant. At TikTok, you can just type in David Lang Celebrant. I'm pretty sure it'll pop up there. Facebook, David Lang Celebrant. I try and post as often as I can from every wedding that I do. If it's not my face, which can be annoying, you know, it's the venue I'm at, or so at least then maybe couples who are coming for a wedding, or they want to look at somewhere new, check out those avenues there, just so you can see what a venue looks like all made up. If you don't need to visit somewhere, or if you want to visit somewhere. But yeah, I'm pretty active on there. Whenever I do a wedding, I try and post on as quickly as I can, just so everyone can see what's been going on. Yeah, that's all the old socials there. So have a look, put me into Google, check me out. Easy Weddings, I'm on there as well, all that kind of fun stuff. So David Lang Celebrant on Easy Weddings too. Yeah, that's wonderful. Everything.
Excellent. Well, Dave, thank you so much for sharing your insights and your enthusiasm that you bring to this industry. I mean, I would expect nothing less from a former cruise ship entertainer. I like myself, but certainly, I love your general, you know, sort of just enthusiasm, burst of energy that you bring to the weddings that you do, the couples that deserve it, and most importantly to this industry. So, thank you for your time today, and I cannot wait for our next wedding together.
No, likewise, my friend. Thank you for having me. It's been an absolute joy, and I can't believe I'm the first guest of the season. All the best for the rest of your season, and I'm sure I will see you very, very, very soon.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.